Alright, please turn off all cell phones, electronic devices, and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, freaking me out so bad, I woke up in the dead sleep. Alright, we have a quorum. We have 8 present board members. Adam is on by Zoom. It is 7:03, and we will start the meeting. I will entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? My only discussion would be, Dave, if you could do the denial first, so if we get that out of the way, then we can go through the rest of the motions. That should be pretty straightforward and quick.
This looks like. I thought the motion would go quicker than the.
Well, they look somewhat involved. That's only my only concern is no sense in delaying property owners that want to get out. You want to leave it like that?
No, that's fine. We're going to put it.
So move the denial appeal to the top of new business. Any questions about that? No? All in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, entertain a motion for the minutes of the November 15th board meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions? I believe anything in question was addressed and updated. All in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Okay, I'm opposed.
Any opposed?
I think maybe it was a delay.
Oh,
Who said aye?
are you saying aye to the approval of the minutes? Adam?
Whatever.
Okay, all opposed? Motion passes. All right, treasurer's report and presentation of bills.
The balance sheet prepared on an accrual basis as of November 30th, 2020. Shows total assets $1,418,186.10. That includes cash, buildings, equipment, land, roads, signs, all assets. It also shows an available cash balance in primary checking of $118,802. But you'll notice that in the excess checking account, there's $350,000, which we're going to be moving part of that into primary checking as soon as we get West Paving's bill for about $188,000 shortly. So that'll be reflected next month. Check report. Look at your check report or check register. Total expenditures, $67,504.85. It included some expenditures that we don't have every month. You'll notice check number 2446, that's for stickers, boat stickers that we just ordered. Check number 2464 is the new piece of equipment, the Billy Goat, which we just purchased. And by the way, it's working real well, maintenance tells me.
So let me make sure I understand it. We bought a Billy Goat from Larry Cook. Okay.
Yeah.
Just getting that straight.
Yeah, okay. And he's been cleaning leaves out of areas where culverts are clogged up and runoff areas, so it's been working real well. Also, checkered flag, check number 2463, that's for the rock that we had cleaned out of code number 3 and 4. And property and real estate taxes were due this month, so that's check number 2470 and 2473. Any questions about anything?
It may come out in your finance report, but I was just curious, do we know how many or dollar amount of unpaid $50 special assessments are still hanging?
No,
And all those have been turned over?
they've been gone to collections. I can find out, but I don't know
Alright.
what it is right now.
Alrighty, any other questions? Get a motion to approve that?
Yes, I have a motion to approve that.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any questions about the balance sheet and the monthly check report? All in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Adam, you there? You busy? Okay, next, correspondence report, Deb.
The correspondence report is pretty bare for the month of November, but we did receive payment of 2 censures, and we mailed 1 more. And that's it for correspondence.
All right, standing committee reports. So, administration. Generated Thanksgiving holiday codes, 2022 assessment increase in the database, which is a task. Thanks to the office and Deb for working on that diligently. 2022 boat stickers. All I can say is if there's anybody that's got a jet ski that didn't get a sticker, get it before the end of the year. You have about 10 days, or you cannot use it next year. License plate info, updating rules on the website, ACC projects and rules violations, boundary line adjustments, and billing prorated assessments on new Jeff County properties sold. So at least that's happening. That's a good thing. Legal, as far as the country club settlement goes, there's 2 things to note on that. The objector's attorney asked for a 10-day extension to file his brief on the appeal, and that would have been till, I believe, the 23rd, which,
Today's today.
right,
I thought it was today.
today was the 10-day? I thought, well, Ted told me it was the
They did it on
13th.
the 10th. They waited to the last minute.
He told me the 13th was the initial deadline. So they filed a 67-page brief in regards to the appeal. That will be held in front of the appeals court within 30 days, is it, or they got 30 days?
The association, the interveners, and the country club have 30 days.
To respond.
Then
So after
the
that.
objectors don't have 30 days after that.
Okay.
Well, they will respond to ours.
So it could be 60 more days, it could be 30 days, and then go to the courts to determine whether or not they will have agreed to an appeal, modify it, or dismiss it. Okay, that's all for our administration and legal, architectural control.
Rising COVID cases, we're still continuing to have ACC meetings via email, but we are having 1 ACC meeting a month. The next is scheduled for January 4th at 6 p.m. As of December 15th, 12 homes are under construction with 26 miscellaneous projects in progress. ACC approved the shed guidelines, which will need to be approved by the board under new business. You should have that in your packet. We've already reviewed it. Also, we will be asking for approval of a variance request for construction of a new home. You also have that in your packet. That's about 8 foot on that far right corner, the 30-foot setback. There is an appeal brought to the ACC, which was denied a second time and will now be heard by the board tonight under new business.
All right, thanks, Dave. Communications and events.
All right. The November e-newsletter was sent out November 30th to 524 email subscribers, and it's now posted on the website. The question of the month, last month, was one suggested by the office, which is more information about the rules for combining lots, because we have people who are buying second lots and not understanding the process to combine them, so that e-newsletter addresses that question if you didn't notice that. And if you do have any questions that you would like included in the newsletter, please let me know so that I can get some answers and publicize those. So that's the Communications Committee report. The Events Committee, we don't have any POA events scheduled right now, but I want to remind everybody that the HOA has the holiday decorating contest in process. And everybody is eligible to vote all the way up to Christmas, and they'll decide a winner on Christmas based on the votes. And you can, in order to vote, you can contact HOA board members, or I can give you an email address, which is Raintree HOA 2015@hotmail.com. So you can circle back with me if you want that email address to vote. And for events, I just was going to mention that I'm going to be connecting with our events committee members so that we can start talking about this year's volunteer appreciation event. We had a nice parade last year, and if we do that again, we'd like to triple, quadruple the number of participants, but we'll be looking forward to getting that planned early in the year.
Is the email subscribers, is that gradually increasing?
It has not increased since November 30th, but it has been increasing by, I would say, about 15 or 20 a month.
Maybe we could put that on Blinky. I don't know if it'd be too hard to read or not, but it
It's
seems
so
like
much-
the more people we get on that, the more involvement we get.
It's a lot easier to subscribe to that by either sending a note to the office and they'll give it to me and I'll sign you up, or go right out on our POA website. It's publicized all over the website how to sign up for those emails.
Is there a prize for the holiday decorating contest?
There is, but I'm not on the HOA board and I don't know what the prize is.
Oh, okay.
All right, finance, Barb.
I don't have anything for finance.
Nothing, okay.
Or we heard.
Golf carts, Tammy.
Golf carts, we are up to 260 as of this past week, 260 golf carts. Golf cart owners can begin to purchase their 2022 stickers. The office will reopen on January 4th. The registration steps that need to be taken care of through the POA office are proof of your current liability insurance, your payment, which we will discuss in rules, but it's going to be $20, or I shouldn't say that because I don't know if it's going to get passed, so I won't say that, I take that back. But you'll need to pay with the office as well as fill out the usage agreement form. And then the registration steps can also be taken care of. You can email that information to office@raintree.net. You can call the office and pay with a credit card over the phone, 636-797-3434, or you can drop off a copy of your insurance and a check to the secure box in the basement door. As well as you can also mail it through the regular U.S. Post Office. The golf cart registration will require an appointment with myself again. Those appointments can be made emailing me at POA.tammyponzer@gmail.com, and the appointments need to be made in advance. And oh, you must be in good standing. I wrote that in. You must be in good standing to renew the registration on your golf cart.
And I'll put this in the December e-newsletter so that all these phone numbers and email addresses will be there.
Because there are just multiple ways. Same information as far as registering your boat. There are certain aspects of it that need to be done in the office because you do need to sign the boat usage agreement form, and you do need to sign the golf cart usage agreement form. But there are means of taking care of it, the payment and the insurance through email, credit card, and dropping it off at the box. And it is a reminder that boat owners and personal watercraft owners, if you are going to have a guest or a family member operating your boat or your personal watercraft, it is your responsibility, as well as that operator's responsibility, to have a copy of their Missouri Boating Safety Certificate on file with the office, as well as a copy of a valid driver's license. And that is, as I said, the responsibility of the property owner who owns the boat, as well as the person that's the guest that might be driving their personal watercraft or the boat that day. And I'm still reaching out to food trucks. And then the maps that I included are just informational. They were sent to me. My contact with DNR has taken a new position, but he sent these to me because I need to update our emergency evacuation information with the Department of Natural Resources. So I'm in the process of doing that as well. So you can see the top breach map, that is for Autumn Lake, and dam number 2, that's for Spring Lake. And yes, it does go all the way to Hot Springs and Cedar Hill.
All right, the only correction I see is, I think it's office at Raintree POA.net, so you may
Oh, so sorry.
date that on both that and the Lakes and Beaches
Okay.
report.
It is, I haven't grabbed that, sorry about that.
Was that both, that was both reports, right? Or just?
Yep.
Okay,
Both reports.
all righty, thank you.
Thank you.
Maintenance, Barb, you wanna do that, you want me to do it?
We took delivery of the new snow plow for the dump truck. We bought a new Billy Goat truck loader, it's called, but it's kind of like a leaf vacuum, that's what we're using for. Made repairs to trucks, tractor, and snow equipment. Repaired, replaced, installed some new signs. Repaired the back deck on this building here, which I think it was just like old rotten lumber is what they replaced. Installed new vehicle detector loops at the rear gates after the asphalt was replaced. Those are installed under the asphalt. Worked clearing ditches of leaves, limbs, and trees. Painted the speed bumps. Made some repairs to security equipment at the entrances. Filled some potholes. We have approximately 150 tons of salt in storage that's ready for delivery when we need it, because we've got all that we can store here already. The maintenance crew has asked that residents please use off-street parking whenever possible, especially when snow is imminent. It's just a good idea to do that all the time if you can. These streets are very narrow and it's very difficult for 2 cars to pass each other when people are parked in the street. If anyone has any areas that need any attention, please fill out a work order and it'll be looked at. Thank you. Any questions?
Can I have it back?
Oh. I got one somewhere.
Thank you. Danny, roads.
Okay, the road scheduled for repair and replacement in November has been completed. There were 32 locations worked on by West Paving. The repair and replacement list for 2022 has been started, and there are already 2 locations on that list. The committee will resume meetings in February to continue on with the suggested locations for next year. Of the 22 locations to be remediated by the EPA, 18 were completed. I'm trying to find out why the other 4 weren't finished. I hope to have a report next month on that one. Both the work from West Paving and the EPA remediation road sites have been reviewed. Barb and I couldn't find any damage from remediation vehicles. It appears they are leaving a small footprint now in our community. Work on the flashing light at Highway B and College Drive has been started by MoDOT. I believe they are about 2 months behind schedule. Hopefully that will be finished in the near future. That's it.
All right, thank you, Ben. Dave, rules.
Okay, we had 50 violations sent out so far this year. Most of the censures. Vehicle, trailer, RV, or other storage on empty lots is prohibited and constitute a bulk of complaints from property owners. This is mostly vehicles being parked on empty lots. Now, there are some lots out there that are legally combined, in which case that would be considered secondary parking. But empty lots without any adjacent home is not prohibited. It is prohibited to park any trailers or vehicles. No vehicles, RVs, or trailers parked on the grass. Covenants Section 2J. No auto trailer, movable house, or manufactured housing as defined by Jefferson County zoning code shall be allowed on any lot in the subdivision. All foundation walls and footings must be continuously poured in concrete at the building site. Trailers, boats, personal watercraft, RVs, or the like shall not be parked or stored in front of a residence or on Raintree, Plantation, Property Owners Association roads or property aside from the following exceptions. Trailers, boats, personal watercraft, and RVs, or the like may be parked on the driveway of a residential lot, that being the most direct paved connection between the public road and the dwelling, as nearly as practical to the dwelling. Trailers, boats, personal watercraft, and RVs, or the like may also be parked in specifically designated areas of Raintree, Plantation, Property Owners Association roads or property. In no event shall such items be stored in any way that creates a nuisance, hazard, or eyesore as determined by the Board of Directors. Any unlicensed vehicle must be inside the owner's garage and shall not be permitted to remain on any part of the lot. Vehicles licensed or unlicensed shall not be parked on lawns. This includes RVs, campers parked in front of the home and especially in the street. Street parking is a safety hazard for the fire department and EMS. Just another reminder that tailgating through our gates is dangerous, often results in gate damage, and comes with a $100 censure assessment. If tailgating violation resulted in gate damage, there is an additional censure of $250 censure plus the cost of the damage repair and administration costs. We have several rules motions to be approved by the board. The one is the 2022 motorized boat, jet ski, personal watercraft, and golf carts registration deadline to be April 1st. But it is now May 1st. We're going to just bump that up. The 2022 golf cart registration would be $25. $20 if purchased between January 1st and March 31st. So it would be a $5 discount. Also, this will be coming up under new business. Wake surfing, teak surfing, use of bladders, ballast, or any device used for the purpose of increasing weight or enhance additional or excessive weight by any boat is strictly prohibited with censures, and all that will be in your packet as well. You can see the changes that are already here pending your approval regarding that. And that is all I have for rules right now until we get to new business.
Okay. For anybody that didn't catch all that, most that paragraph that Dave recited is in the covenants of 2J, if you want to reread that. I know that was a mouthful, so thanks, Dave.
I just wanted to read it because that's what it says, and I keep having it.
Basically,
my
all
face
of this in his
needs to
report
be-
is on the website, I believe, as well, correct?
What's that?
Yes.
The rest of this?
It will be on the website once we approve, because the changes that reflect what the Rules Committee had voted on to bring to you, to the board tonight, is reflect, that's why it says sample on there, it's kind of faded, but those will be changed, that sample part will be taken off if it's approved.
All right, Chris, security.
Well, we haven't had a lot going on, but we have had a couple of times the gates have been knocked down. We did have a few censures. Last month, we did have Will Nix, who had clipped the front gate here and also ran over the bar that flattened it. They were sent an invoice and paid $250 for damage to the gate. And we had two others that also were censured for, it looks like tailgating or knocking down the gate. And that's all I have for security.
Alrighty, that's the end of committee reports. We'll get into unfinished business and new business. As of typing of the agenda, there was no unfinished business. Does anybody see otherwise? Alright, so we'll get into new business. We've moved the denial appeal up front, so basically how this works is Frank or Joyce, you have amount of time to speak to the board or ask us any questions, wholly or individually, and then any board member can ask you a question as well, and then after that we will vote. I do believe it'll be a silent vote. Adam is remote, so he will not be able to vote silently. If there is a tie, I will be the deciding factor. So if you guys want to start first, or
Excuse me, why can't Adam vote?
he will vote, he just won't be able to vote silently. He has to vote online.
Okay.
He's at a wake.
All right.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey Dave, I would like Frank to come up close enough so where I can hear him as well.
Okay.
On the computer.
Nice, speak loud.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can walk up to here if you want.
I'm short
Turn
enough.
it on too, I don't think it's off. Yeah, that should be all right.
Can you hear me now, Adam?
Adam,
Yes, sir, I can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay.
I apologize. Hey Frank, I apologize that I can't be here in person. I just have something going on, so appreciate your being patient.
No problem. Okay, since, I've only been here we've been out here since July of 18. So I do want to write this little preamble thing. I'm sure you have my packet plus the letter that I addressed to Mr. Woolridge. First of all, I would like to commend this board for their diligent work the past 2 years, getting a yearly getting a yearly increase. The first in 12 years is quite an accomplishment. Creating a standard for golf carts was another challenge, but we all survived. Our covenants cover many situations. However, not everything is covered. It makes things easier, obviously, for the board when things are all in black and white. We also realize that some are outdated, need to be removed, and common sense tells us not to enforce outdated covenants, such as 1D, which states house pets are permitted, but not over 2 of any kind. That's 1D. It's black and white, but I don't think we enforce that. You know, we have a lot of people, I think, that have more than 2 pets of any kind. So that's what I'm calling common sense. We're not going to do that. So I said not everything is black and white. So what do we do if we can't find anything in the covenants that specifically refers and covers the project? Do you just throw it out because it's not in the covenants? Nowhere does it refer, for instance, to patio covers or pavilions not being allowed in Raintree. So what do? I'm assuming we want to be fair, because everyone on this board is representing the people here. So we believe that is why 2B was created. I don't know, I wasn't around back when they did the covenants. Okay, and so after I think we should use 2B should be used here after we find that my structure is 44 feet from the neighbor's property, from our neighbor's property, and approximately 18 feet from my side lot, however, all three of my lots are combined in one. There are no utilities at the front of my lot or at the rear of my lot. There is nothing there except my boat dock. So, to me, in lieu of the above, we believe that 2B was established for this kind of project. With approximately 70 neighbors, that you get copies of, that have signed the letter stating that they agree. And this includes neighbors to the right of me, to the left of me, in 6 coves, some off the lake. And they're saying they're good with it. And I'm saying, if I got 70 people who are good, why can't we be good with it? What do we need to be good with it then? So I think that's a big thing here, that some people that don't say very good things about the board, and I always come back to them because, they, oh, they've got too many rules and all that stuff. I said, just think of what happened if they didn't have any rules. And say, oh, so they get the idea, though, that every time somebody wants to do something here, we automatically find ways to say no. And it would be nice if we could change that and say, no, we're not saying no because it's not in here. Let us check into it. What are you planning on doing? Is this worth it? Is it nice in the community? And I certainly believe what I want to do is. I just think that little common sense, most of you people know me, and I'm not going to put anything junky up there. And it would be very nice. And I know that we're starting to talk now about, in the ACC meeting too, in the rules meeting about what they call them, outdoor living area, call them outdoor living areas. There's a couple out here like that. There already is. But that's all I wanted to do. And that's only covering half of my patio. Patio, like I said, it's 600 and something, or 700 feet, whatever it is. The cover's only half of it. So that's why I can put it back more toward the beginning on our side, because it's 44 feet from our house to the concrete. So I'm gonna still leave an area out there for sunbathing or whatever you want to do. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Frank. Joyce, anything? Anybody have any questions for the ballpark for Frank or Joyce? Chris? Deb? Barb? Denny?
No, sir.
Dave?
I just have a response and reasons the ACC denied it. I just wanted to present that, put it on record, that's all. These plans were rejected by, do you want to do this slide, Joe? Is that on?
Like.
Which one do I push?
Nothing, he has the remote.
Oh, you have a remote, I'm sorry.
It's almost the year 2022.
Yeah, the first two. Yeah, there we go. Is it bright enough? Anyway. Okay, I'll just go ahead. I can't read it very well. These plans were rejected by ACC on September 7th and again upon appeal October 5th for the following reasons. The proposed structure is a self-standing, permanent structure without walls, doors, or windows, which could be classified as a pavilion/outbuilding. Jefferson County Code, Section 400.230 defines a building as any structure having a roof supported by columns or walls and intended for the shelter, housing, or enclosure of any individual, animal, process, equipment, goods, or materials of any kind. While Section 2I of the Raintree POA covenant states, construction of boat docks or outbuildings shall be permitted on lots within Raintree subdivision, subject to approval by the Architectural Control Committee. It also states, and within guidelines established by the Property Owners Association Board of Directors, Raintree POA guidelines for obtaining a building permit to construct an outbuilding, which were approved by the Board of Directors September 12th and November 2019, September of 2012 and November of 2019, and that's the statement right there, must be located on at least 1.5 acres. All lots must be under one legal description. In addition, the proposed structure is completely outside building setback requirements. Raintree POA Covenants Section 2G states, no house or attached structure shall be constructed closer than 25 feet from the property line, from the front property line, 10 feet from the sidelines, nor be any closer than 30 feet from the rear setback property line. Raintree POA guidelines for obtaining a building permit to construct an outbuilding also states, building must be within the setback lines of the property. The exception to this policy, lakefront property owners can build a boat dock cover with a seawall and boat slip with the approval of the Raintree POA Architectural Control Committee. In fact, the Raintree POA guidelines for obtaining a permit to construct any outbuilding, detached garage, even a playground, all state they must remain within original setback restrictions. Raintree POA Covenants Section 2H, the Board of Raintree Plantation Property Owners Association, Inc. shall have the power to grant a variance to yard setback line encroachment when the strict application of any building covenants or regulation would result in peculiar or exceptional difficulties owing to exceptional narrowness, shallowness, shape of topography, or other extraordinary or exceptional topography, or other extraordinary or exceptional situations or condition relating to a specific piece of property. It is intended by the membership that variances should only be granted for the purposes of alleviating hardship and that cost is not a hardship. This property consists of 0.68 acres located on 3 lots, 18, 19, and 20 in Section 3. They have a legal boundary adjustment. These lots are relatively flat. On that's figure 5B and 5A and 5, yes. The proposed structure would be constructed on lot 18, which has no other buildings other than the seawall, boat slip, and boat cover, and are constructed on Raintree POA common ground. These lots do not have any exceptional narrowness, shallowness, or exceptional topography that would prohibit a permitted structure to be constructed within the POA and Jefferson County building setback lines. Raintree POA Covenants 2H continues with a definition of variance as a procedure by which the board acting in adjustment may modify, alter, or relax the requirements of the covenants and restrictions as to yard setback lines where such action will not be contrary to the public interest and where owing to the conditions peculiar to the property and not the result of actions or situations of the owner. A literal enforcement of the covenants and restrictions will result in unnecessary and undue hardship. Raintree POA Covenants Section 2B states, in determining whether or not to approve plans submitted, the Architectural Control Committee may, but is not obligated to consider all factors, including, but not limited to, the practical, aesthetic, legal, financial, and environmental effect any structure will have on lots or buildings in the entire development and in its vicinity, and whether it complies with the general plan or concept of the subdivisions as advertised or represented to other property owners. While this section of the covenants gives broad authority to the Architectural Control Committee ability to approve or not approve plans, it is reserved only for the purpose of the type of structures that comply with the general plan or concept of the subdivision. In 2019, the ACC proposed and and the board approved that split foyer style construction will no longer be permitted in the subdivision, as they were deemed not to comply with the general plan or concept of the subdivision. That same year, plans for a seawall, boat slip, and modern two-tier boat cover. Did you find the, yeah, that one there. These were approved by the ACC, pending a variance because of the large size of the boat cover. These plans were rejected by the board due to the large size of the boat cover that completely disregard the boat cover guidelines permitted size. Currently in Raintree, there is an A-frame home. There is a yurt that have been approved by ACC and were constructed within the required building setbacks. Recently, a flat roof home was rejected because, as one inspector stated, it just doesn't fit in with the style of homes we have in Raintree. Section 2B in no way whatsoever gives the ACC or the board the authority to circumvent any other section of the covenants. The ACC and the board are required to enforce the covenants and rules uniformly and fairly for the benefit of all owners. Article 8, enforcement of the bylaws, enforcement of restriction and regulations. No member of the board of directors in his or her official capacity shall take or fail to take actions adverse to the directives voted upon and authorized by the members of the Raintree Plantation Property Owners Association, Inc. It is understandable that a property owner has a personal interest in having their plans approved. We, as a committee or the board of directors, must remain impartial and only look at the proposed structure and that it falls within the covenants and all established guidelines. The ACC is composed of volunteer property owners and all directors of the board. Inspectors have been through training, and some have been inspecting building projects in Raintree for years. Their names have been long established and listed on the website and are included in all ACC correspondence, including emails. Only those members are permitted to vote on all submitted plans. The committee members review all plans via email or in person and comment with suggestions or concerns prior to voting to approve or disapprove. This procedure was followed accurately in the denial of the original Pavilion outbuilding plans and again upon appeal submitted to ACC. It now comes to the board as outlined in section 2.0. Allowing the construction of a pavilion outbuilding completely outside the 30-foot rear setback, disregard the covenants, the building guidelines, Jefferson County building setbacks, the duties of the board of directors, and the architectural control committee. It would set a precedent by which other property owners could use as a reference to have their plans approved outside building setbacks, whether those plans be pavilions, outbuildings, playgrounds, or sheds. How do we as a committee or a board make exceptions for some property owners and not for others? As ex officio chairman of all committees, the president of the board may appoint or remove the current chair of any committee. If the president has lost confidence that ACC procedures were properly followed, discrepancies in which the committee functions, or the way in which the voting process was conducted, the president is free to appoint someone in which he has confidence in.
Is that it, Dave?
Yes.
This board member's time to speak.
Hang on one second, I gotta,
Do I get to say anything?
yeah, hang on 1 second. I don't wanna be blinded here. Can somebody grab the lights?
Thanks, Joe.
Give me 1 minute, Frank. Adam, you have something to say?
Yeah, I just wanna, just the prior conversation, everyone okay?
Yeah, this is, yes.
Yeah, I just wanna state that, you know, a couple things is the covenants, as even our attorney has said, and, some people want to ignore that, that's fine. But the covenants do allow us to grant leniency, and I just encourage every board member to vote with common sense. I mean, this is a cut and dry thing. Frank's Pavilion isn't gonna hurt anyone. It's not gonna block anyone's view. It's practical. And as Dan Getty just just said, right? We are allowed to vote any way we choose. It's according to 2B to allow aesthetics, practicality, and getting just stated that this lot doesn't have any sort of extraordinary situation that says otherwise. Now, I would disagree, right? I mean, its topography is off, right? It's pretty steep. If you asked it to go further back into his property line, it doesn't make sense. It's not practical, it's not aesthetic. And for us not to allow this to happen is actually not in the favor of our property owners at all. There's not many lots that we can fit a pavilion into. So, and we already set precedent, Debbie, in prior pavilions. I mean, right next to Al Weidman's house is a pavilion with not even a proper roof or structure on it. It looks like an island shack, right? So if this goes to court, which it will, we're going to lose this. I mean, it's black and white. I mean, if you want to talk about precedent, it's already been set. So if you guys vote this down, I'm going to let you know now, I'm going to stand on the stand with Frank Sophie. I already have evidence of foul play in the ACC committee. And if you want to discuss it, I'd be happy to go there. But I truly, truly encourage people to vote with their conscience. It's not going to hurt anyone. It's in the favor of our property owner who we're looking out for. And if this doesn't happen, it's going to end badly for the property owners. We're going to spend a lot of money defending something that's indefensible. The precedent has already been set. Whether you guys agree with it or not, you need to do what's the best for our property owners. And like Ben Kennedy asked the other night, when no one could answer it, where would you put it if you were a property owner? If you were in Frank Sophie's shoes and bought that piece of property, where would you put it? What makes sense? I think any judge would agree with Frank Sophie's standpoint. And the covenants are a guideline. If we follow the covenants, black and white, there's no need for a board. So please, take the motions out of it. Take whatever feelings you have out of it. Use your common sense. And like I said before, if this goes to court, Frank Sophie, I'll do whatever I can to make sure that this is acceptable. I mean, any person with a lick of common sense and can eliminate the emotions out of it would see that this makes sense. Have some emotional intelligence. Please think of common sense. That's all I have to say for now.
Frank, you wanted to say
No,
something?
yeah, one point that they made this has already been discussed in previous ones, where 2G states that a house on attached structure, which this is not. So 2G is invalid. The same way with the other ones, it doesn't apply. I don't need a variance because a variance needs for a building, for an attached structure, and that's not what it is.
But it is an outbuilding.
An outbuilding has the guidelines, as I stated.
Well, hang on.
It's not a
Let
building.
Frank finish.
It's not a building. That's the other thing that we looked at. It's not a building. It's an outbuilding. It can have sides and windows and doors. This has none of it.
Jefferson County Code.
Hang on,
defines
hang
it.
on.
Wait, excuse me a second. Excuse me 1 second. Jefferson County approved my structure, okay? They approved the structure, and I don't want to get into it, and I'm sure somebody else here doesn't want to get into it either, but they did approve my structure. Okay, now if I were to do like the neighbor next to Weidman and put thatch on top of it, make it a giant, I can do tiki bar, I can do that. And it is perfectly legal. I don't know how the guy across the lake got away with it, it's still there. And it's a permanent structure. It's hard to see. He's got a lot of the fencing and walkway and everything all around it, so it's difficult to see. But these other things we already put to bed, because just doesn't apply.
Chris,
And Dave responded to that now.
well, Chris had something to say.
Well, no, I was gonna make the same point that,
I mean,
that
it's,
Dave made, that, according to Jefferson County, an outbuilding is any structure that is, built that has, is supported, or has a roof supported by, posts or pylons or walls. Doesn't have to have walls and windows to be an outbuilding.
You got one right across the lake.
Hang on, Frank,
Show it to you tomorrow if you want to see it.
hang on,
Oh, I'm done,
okay.
I'm done.
And I certainly, my idea is I'm gonna match my roof on my boat dock. It's gonna blend right in. I hate to say that because I'm sure everybody's brought it up. It's gonna blend in a lot nicer than what they call the QT dock over there across the lake from me. You know, the ones that are set this way at each other?
I did have one more thing.
Go ahead.
Regardless of how this structure is classified, it is still required to be within setbacks. If you look at all our existing guidelines, all other structures are to be built within the setbacks. And those setbacks are not something that we make up or control, and it's not something that we have, that we can just ignore. These have nothing to do with common sense. It's measurements from the back of the property, 30 feet, 30-foot setback. It's a no building. It is
From
the
the
back
back
of
of the
the
property, Chris, I'm fine.
Hang on, Frank. Go ahead, Chris.
Just from the back of the property line. Nothing can be built within that 30 feet setback.
Okay, hang on, Frank. Hang on, Adam. Dave, did you want to say something? No. Frank,
I want to say something.
It's my understanding there are a couple of buildings being built right now that aren't within the setbacks. Do you know that, Chris?
yes,
Yes.
no?
There is, as noted and that was read, there are purposes or variances when buildings and structures encroach on property, the building setbacks. That has been established in both our covenants and the guidelines and the regulations set by Jefferson County. The example of this is not an encroachment, it is ignoring the setbacks altogether and placing a structure where the property owner wants it to be. If you are building a structure, a building, and it crosses over that setback line, that's an encroachment, and you can get a setback for that. But you cannot ignore the established setbacks to establish yards.
You know, I do find some things that are quite interesting.
Hang on. Let Adam speak. Go ahead, Adam.
Okay, so, Chris, the setback is there for a reason, okay? If this property was backed up to another property, it would make sense, right? Now, the memorial that I'm at right now is at the Missouri Athletic Club. I don't know if anyone knows about the Missouri Athletic Club, but it's a club full of lawyers. I'm here almost every Monday night. A lot of my friends are lawyers. I've gone over this case with them multiple times. And I'm telling you guys, we are on the losing side. The precedent has already been set. You've allowed it to happen with boathouses when it encroaches. It doesn't matter if it's on line 1 or line 30 of the setback. It's already happened. If Brent takes this to court, we are done for. And I'm urging you guys to listen to me. I know I'm a 27-year-old young buck, right? Or whatever you want to call it. Okay? But I own a multi-million-dollar company. I'm telling you now, this is very important. It's going to cost the property owners money. Okay? We are in the side of the property owner. Have some emotional intelligence. The encroachment has already happened on me. I've counted 50, and I'm just quickly looking. on the lake side. You can't say that the setback applies to one thing and not the other. You can't say that, oh, you can go halfway over the setback and that's okay, but you can't go 30 feet past the setback and that's not okay. That doesn't make sense. That's an emotional response to a logical question. What Frank is wanting isn't going to hurt anybody. It's not going to affect anyone's view. It makes sense. I mean, I've said this so many times. It makes sense topography-wise. It makes sense aesthetically-wise. Any judge is going to vote in this man's favor. And the reason why, I don't know Frank Sophie. The dog on the street. I don't know him at all, but I'm telling you, the only reason why I picked this up is because it's a losing case, and I want to protect our property owners' money in a lawsuit. Do I care about Frank Sophie as an individual? No. Do I care about him as a property owner? Absolutely. Okay? We are here for our property owners, not for ourselves. And 2B allows us to make a variance. And we have made variances in the past. For some reason, you guys are held up on Frank Sophie, and it's inappropriate. You need to let it go. Allow this man to build a pavilion, okay?
Need to cut him off. He's repeating
Because,
himself.
Chris, you cannot, Chris, no, don't interrupt me. I didn't interrupt you. No one interrupt me. Chris, you cannot say 5 feet over the setback is appropriate, but not 30 feet. You can't say 10 feet over the setback is appropriate, but not 30 feet. You can't say 15, 20. Well, it doesn't make sense, guys. So, the covenants allow variance in 2B. This isn't a winning case. You guys are fighting a losing battle. Please save our property owners money. Frank's gonna win this.
Can I speak?
All right, hang on a minute. For the record, I'm 27 years old too. So,
And I agree.
can we get that in the minutes?
I'm 30, I just turned 30.
That's no excuse. Can I say something? Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead, Barb.
Okay. We've heard all of this ad nauseum, over and over. We both know both sides of this. The bottom line everybody needs to remember is that we have latitude to go either way on this. It's granted to us. And I think we need to tamp down the scare tactics here and reserve our legal advice from our legal people and not from our board members. The way to get this through, either way, is not by threats and intimidation and scare tactics. So let's stick to the facts.
Barb, I'm
Hang on, Adam. Hey, hang on.
This is not gonna be another debate. This has been debated enough. We all heard both sides. We don't need to keep hearing the same things over and over again. And there's a lot of other people here that might like to speak, so let's not dominate it.
Okay, hang on. Frank?
I'm done.
I just had a question for Chris. He was talking about the one gentleman, did you say that, yes, it was over like 5 feet, but it's where he wanted to put it?
No, it's,
You said that's where he wanted it.
it's because of the lay of the land. The property is shallow in one corner, and so the setback is also shallower. So the house that they wanted to build, the corner of the house encroaches and crosses over just by the corner, just by 5 or 6 feet, because of the lay of the land, which is allowed by the covenants.
I understand, I just wanted to clarify.
Okay.
Deb?
I'm just gonna repeat what I said already. I think that the placement of a structure like a pavilion would look way better right by the boathouse than halfway up the hill where it's another structure on the property. I think that wanting it to look good should be one of our priorities.
Okay, I think oh, Danny, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I was reading through this letter that Dave typed up here, and he talks about section 2B, in no way whatsoever gives the ACC or the board the authority to circumvent any other section of the covenant. And I totally disagree with that statement. 2B was put into the covenants specifically to circumvent the other sections. It says that right up at the beginning. We know that everything that can be built in here is not covered by the covenants. 2B answers that question. Now, 2B was entered into the covenants in 1993. It was entered into the covenants because the covenants don't cover all aspects of buildings. And this was voted in by the membership. It wasn't voted in by a rules committee or an ACC committee or roads committee or anything like that. So I just wanted to state that I disagree with that statement. Another thing I disagree with is I hope that you don't think that if some of us disagree with what the ACC has come up with, I hope you don't think that we're trying to circumvent or we're taking some type of adverse action against the association. We just disagree with what the ACC says. That's all. It's as simple as that. We don't have to beat it to death.
I just have a couple questions for Dave and Chris. When the ACC was heard, I don't know, because I was at neither one of them, I was out of town in both cases. At the appeal or the initial one, how many people signed a petition in favor of this
What do you mean?
on Frank's
I mean,
behalf?
you voted on it, or you?
No, the petition.
That he signed, yeah, it was 69.
69? Is
Yeah.
that what you got, Frank? Is that right?
That's right.
And there was a statement from an inspector, said with 69 late residents signing on the Sophie appeal, does this mean the 69 more homeowners will now be wanting to put up this kind of structure?
It's ridiculous.
So,
That's exactly what he said.
hang on, I got a couple questions. 69 were on the petition. How many complaints have we received that they don't want it allowed? Any? None?
ACC just voted on it, so.
So no complaints, 69 in favor. I just wanted to, Chris, you had something to say?
Well,
I got a question.
Oh, sorry, Al. I don't know who was
How
first.
many people in the community are aware he wants to build this?
No idea. Don't know how many people are not aware as well.
I can tell you the 69 plus people I didn't even ask anymore.
but
Okay, hang
I
on,
just
let's,
want to also point out something though. This petition and this, and 6970 signatures, can somebody tell me where that is in our ACC processes for approval?
I think he was just putting it in.
yeah, I'm
to
not
back
saying
it
it
up.
is a process or it isn't. I was just
So,
asking if there were complaints or.
Some of them were husband and wife, some of them.
It was called
So
support.
in the,
that's why.
in the collection of these, if there was someone, that did disagree with putting up a pavilion, did they also collect that information?
You'd have to ask Frank.
Nobody disagreed.
Dave,
Hang on one minute.
You can't tell.
only Frank.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
And while you're writing there, I'll just say something to Chris. If I had a lot of people disagree, I would have done it. I mean, that's not
No,
why I'm here.
I was just trying
Right,
to,
but I'm just saying that's
he
what
was,
I'm
he was
trying to
writing down a big zero, nobody disagreed. So,
Well,
you know,
no-
that
nobody
means
that
that
I
everybody
talked-
agreed with.
Right,
it.
nobody
So,
that I talked to
I'm just
did.
trying to
No,
point
that's
out.
not any
I-
what it says. I'm asking a
I know
question.
you are, and I was responding to that, that's all. I was
Well,
trying
you
to-
put words in my mouth.
Okay, I'm guessing that most of the disagreements would come after it was approved and constructed, if there were any comments to be made. Most people don't know about it, except for the people he contacted to get a signature.
Fair enough.
I'm sorry, I had one, I wanted to go back to something that Danny had, his comments, if I can.
Okay.
I'm waiting for
Yeah,
Dave
go
to
ahead.
catch up. For 2B, I understand that 2B was supposed to be for something that is possibly not covered, which building a pavilion would be something that's not covered right now. However, the setbacks, the building setbacks for structures is in the covenants. And I don't see where the 2B can be applied to circumvent those setbacks. Because we have guidelines for enforcing setbacks, but why do we even have those guidelines for setbacks if we can use 2B to allow property owners to do whatever they want, to put wherever they want? And the 2B also, I know that it can be used to allow us to change and mold the covenants and give us a little wiggle room for making decisions in distinct situations. But I don't see where it has the use for something that is already covered within the covenants as far as setbacks and variances. That's all I have.
Okay. Then,
Well, I was just saying, I was reading again this letter here, and it talks about the 30 feet setback on the back property line, so you can't build anything within that 30-foot setback, correct?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
And on the last page, it talks about allowing construction of a pavilion outbuilding completely outside the 30-foot setback. So if you can't put it inside the 30-foot, you can't put it outside the 30-foot, where can you put it?
Well,
Not at all.
That's,
Is that it?
there are two things here. We currently have no guidelines for a pavilion.
And outbuildings, if that's what we're
And
doing.
the closest thing that we can classify it as is an outbuilding. And it does not meet the requirements for outbuildings either. And outside of if this was a garage, an external garage, a detached garage, which is allowed on his type of property, it still would have to be built within the setbacks and could not be placed where he's planning on constructing it.
And I just
I
would say that
can't,
if
she wasn't
2B,
part of the,
if 2B would allow us to circumvent the covenants, then, you know, the part about, it's not be any actions or situations of the owner, so we could just throw that out. We could have mobile homes in here, we could just throw that out. I mean, 2B, I don't think we can just apply it to anything we want, only to those things that aren't explicitly outlined in the covenants. Otherwise, I think we're just,
It does allow us the wiggle room to address individual situations. But if we're going to use it to circumvent the covenants, I think that that's an improper use and wasn't the intended part of
Yeah,
it.
hang on.
We are not.
Hey, hang on, Adam, hang on. You okay with?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
All right, Adam, you got something new to add? I don't wanna just keep rehashing.
No, I'm not rehashing. But, Chris, we're not circumventing anything. You guys keep saying it's 2B, that's the way to circumvent the covenants. It's not true at all. 2B is in there so the board can make the discretionary call. Okay, so if someone goes, hey guys, I wanna build a trailer in here, like Daddy said, the board would obviously go, no, that doesn't fit us. Okay, so that doesn't apply, really, I mean, come on, that's what I'm saying, is they getting your ticket too far. We have to apply, I know, how could I say this again, common sense. What board is gonna allow a trailer to be built? No board. What board would allow a beautiful pavilion to be constructed that's matching the house and everything else, it's not hurting anyone? Well, I would hope a good board would do that. And so, this is really the defining point between whether, in my opinion, we're a good board or we're a bad board. That's all I gotta say.
All right,
We have to have some emotional intelligence.
I can't listen to anybody that isn't Frank or Joyce, sorry, guys.
Oh, you can't listen?
I'm a property
No,
owner.
only you or Joyce get to speak,
Not in this matter.
sorry. I'm gonna call for a vote. It seems like we've got everybody. Adam will do it verbally. We're doing, does anybody have the ballots? I do not.
I did not print that one.
I passed out the names.
I'm about out of ink.
I've got your Brandon and right there to match everybody else's.
You can speak while we're waiting for the.
Yeah, while you're waiting for the thing, it was just interesting, that's why I brought up, I know everything's black and white. How many people have we gone to their houses and said you have to get rid of one of your dogs? Cause you have 3 of them, and that's black and white in that covenant.
If
We
we
pick
had,
and choose,
if we
well,
had,
you shouldn't be able to pick and choose what you want to enforce
That's right.
and what you don't, and that's what you're saying. That's what you
here's
said
the thing,
before.
Mr. Sophie, here's the thing. If we had a complaint by somebody that said they have 3 dogs and they're being obnoxious and also they're not allowed, if their neighbor complains about having 3 dogs or 4 cats,
That's not my
no,
point, and I'm not gonna do
that's
that.
how we enforce.
There's
We
no
don't go
complaint
door
about
to
his
door
property.
and count
There's no
animals.
complaint about his building, there's no complaints,
Eddie,
just saying.
I will tell you that we do have someone, a property owner, that has signed an agreement that when their 2 elderly dogs pass away, they will not be replaced because they have 4 small dogs in their house right now. And I had them sign that agreement.
The county belongs to.
Well, they had extended family that moved in with them, and I had them sign an agreement saying that they won't replace the 2 when they pass away. And they agreed to it. And I'm not gonna do this. I need them to match. I call them 12 times.
I think Dave's in there getting it, Chris.
I just printed it.
Yeah, I think he was waiting for it, our copies.
Everybody use this pen.
Why, you got super duper ink on there that's got DNA in it or something?
Disappearing in color.
You came here, Robert's rules, I read it.
Oh, everybody's gotta have the same pen?
Well, it doesn't say that. It
There's
just
not
says-
distinguishable something or another. Says I just have to offer it.
There are a lot of things.
Oh, I bet he's trying to cover.
Dave, is that?
Day after.
Huh?
Day after.
That's it.
I'm gonna be right there the
The
day
day
after.
after the sun.
Right.
Sun on it.
Sunday to Sunday.
So I could.
Well, my office closes. I can run my business from down there, so. Well, normally I would fly into Fort Myers, but because of the Sunday flight being cheaper with Allegiance, we gotta go into Punta Gorda. It's about, speaking of black ink, the seller signed the sales contract in blue ink, and we signed it back to back, and the sales guy yells at me because we can't read the seller's signature. I go, maybe he shouldn't have used blue ink. It doesn't scan very well. Well, it doesn't scan well on black and white scan. You have a color sheet. No. Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe when I sell that one. No. We haven't closed on it yet, but when I rent it. Oh, absolutely. I can probably get everybody in Raintree. We won't even have to advertise. It's about 5 miles from the beach. It's right on, it's the main drag, Naples, it's It goes from Naples all the way up to Fort Myers. It's Naples, the second richest county in the United States. It's the second best place to live. It's the first least crime area. When the camp started reading, I was trying to figure out, just talking in there. And then she read this article, like on, what it was, but, you know, she got 8 grandkids and one on the way, and trying to get her parents. It's called the manufactured home, so they take 2 pieces and put it together. It's got a cover, porch, windows in it, it's nice thing about it is, everything is intuition. So, couches, beds, lamps, which I would probably end up replacing one of them, but just to be able to go in there. Yeah, no, it's 5 miles. Yeah, actually, my insurance agent, I called the insurance, said, hey, my buddy, operates the largest fishing companies in Eastern Australia, and that's what's going to be in Sunday. All right, folks, we're gonna continue with this meeting. Please quiet. I'll read this so everybody can hear it for the record. Raintree ACC Board Appeal. Adam, you'll have to do by verbal vote, and I'll call for that when we're ready. Majority vote of reverse will overturn the ACC denial. If the ACC denial is reversed, the board must determine if the matter is approved as presented or approved with amendments. If the plans presented to the ACC require any type of variance, the board will need to make a motion to approve any variances. If the plans presented require any additional amendments, the board will need to make a motion to approve any amendments. The majority vote of approve will uphold the ACC denial. The property owner will need to submit a new permit request and have it approved through normal channels prior to proceeding with any construction related to this matter. So to be clear, a reverse is to overturn the ACC denial. A approve is to uphold it. So an approve would disallow the construction, a reverse would possibly allow it.
So you're giving us to do the kind of.
Yes, give it to Deb.
No is yes and yes is no.
Right. You know what, I'm just gonna mark this Adam's vote. Adam, go ahead and tell me your vote. Adam? Oh.
Sorry, I needed to step away from the crowd. I vote to reverse the ACC's ruling to allow Plantation to build this building.
All right, thank you.
And Joyce Hilton.
Have them all.
Yes.
Did you vote yes or no?
just announce, how many in favor, or how many reversed it, and how many approved it?
3 votes to reverse the ACC decision and 5 votes to uphold the ACC decision.
Okay, so the appeal stands as the pavilion will not be allowed. Frank and Joyce, you guys will get written notice of that. It'll also be in the minutes. I don't know what I can say that makes anything any better or worse, but, best of luck and, I'm just gonna
That's why you put 2 canopies up there now, white or yellow canopies, and let them sit up there. It looks like crap. That's okay. Saves me a lot of money. I got more money to spend elsewhere.
All right, let's see, where are we? Okay, motions, Dave, you want motions, so this
You
one's
want us to
done?
continue with the ACC motion since we're in ACC? I know
Yeah,
it's not in
that's
order,
fine.
but we can get that out of the way if you
Yeah.
want. The first one, I need to make a motion.
What?
I need to make a motion to approve the shed guidelines. I should have them. And the way we came about this at the Rules Committee was basically we took outbuildings, detached garages, pet enclosures, playgrounds, all of those guidelines, and just applied what was, because even for a playground, you have to submit 2 site survey plot plans, so we kept everything the same. So I would just make a motion to approve the shed guidelines.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion about the shed guidelines? All in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
All
Yeah,
opposed?
just question. Raise your hand. I did raise my hand. On the shed guidelines, what's the size of the structure, that can be placed out
100
there?
square feet,
I'm sorry?
100 square feet.
So they can put any structure they want anywhere in the backyard, they
No, it's gotta be within the
Gotta be
setbacks.
within
Okay,
the
that's-
building setback.
And the house must be on the property.
Okay, so they can, and you can put as many of them around this lake as you want.
Yeah, but hang on, Frank. You can talk as long as you want in open forum, but let me get through the
I thought
motions.
that's where we're at, okay.
No, it's just for
Got
the
some
board.
motions to make.
All right, all in favor signify with, did I already call for the
You already
vote?
called,
No.
couldn't you,
Anybody? All opposed, same. Adam, did you vote? If he's busy, I get it, don't worry about it. Okay, I think we got 7-4, motion passes. All right, next.
We need to approve the variance for the new home on Vista Drive. It's about 5 to 8 feet on the far corner there. You can see the lot cuts across.
and there's a deck.
Yeah, it's a deck and some steps.
Is that Seahouse's house?
Yeah, we were refraining from saying anything because the
Sorry.
house is here.
Sorry.
So I wanted to get it out of the way.
Motion to approve a variance for a new home, would you say 6 to 8 feet? I didn't hear exactly.
Yeah, it's 6 to 8 feet. I can't remember the exact amount. off the top of my head.
Sure.
It was. Balloon 8 feet, wasn't it?
Oh, proposed, yes. There it is.
Is there a motion?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Or any discussion on the motion to approve a variance? I have a question, because I am conflicted on what I've seen in emails. Are all of these variances, house or boat slip, also going through Jefferson County as well?
Yes, sir. The meeting is on January 13th, and I have spoke with the county, and the first thing they wanted from me was your guys' approval to be there on the meeting.
Perfect.
Also, just to clarify, boat houses normally do not require variance unless they cross over the line.
Jefferson County has said they're leaving that up to us.
Yes.
That's
I
under
got
our
that.
discretion, and as long as they don't cross the property line and they're 100% on POA property, there is no variance required.
Okay, if they aren't built on 100%, then is there a variance required?
If it, just like a house, if it crosses the back property line, it's gonna go into that no-build zone, it has to be a variance. but nobody's going to build a boathouse entirely across that line. Most, 95% of all boathouses are 100% on POA property.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor of the variance for a new home signify with an aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay. You want to start at the top, I guess, Dave?
Yes, now I'll go to the other ones. Make a motion that the 2022 motorized boat, jet ski, and personal watercraft golf carts registration deadline is April 1st.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
And it's currently May 1st,
Yes,
and so we're pushing it back 1 month,
yes,
pushing it forward 1 month.
yes.
Last year, we did extend it out, I believe, twice because of COVID.
Any
Make
dis-
that motion. I'll
Yes,
second
that
it.
was already
I made that
second.
Oh,
motion.
sorry.
I think that's second.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the 2022 motorized boat, jet ski, PWC golf carts registration deadline to April 1st, 2022? Is that just for next year, or is this including every
It would
year?
probably be every year after that.
The way it reads, it's just next year, so we'll approve that, or all in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 7 nays. Okay, golf cart registration, Dave. Next.
Okay, I'll need to make a motion that the golf cart registration fee is $25. However, it will be $20 if purchased between January 1st and March 31st.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Yeah, just a bit of advice, when you make these motions, I would not put a year in there, because now you gotta do this next year as well.
Okay.
So,
Dave, just for clarification on this increase in price is more or less just to cover the cost of the sticker and administration fees.
okay.
Have you seen the amount that, because see, we have to buy a certain number of stickers and we don't need that
We
many.
have to throw about half of them away.
What was it, what was the cost previously? 15?
Yes, 15 and 10.
15, it's now 25, 20 if you do early. Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Dave, you can't amend the emotions?
I can't.
You can't amend them to get
I
it?
can't. This isn't my motion. No, yeah, they could have,
Okay,
but it was in the agenda as that, so
okay.
do it another year. Dave, wake surfing, was that you or is that team?
Was that, 5-7?
7, yes. Adam, are you there? Deb, or, who's doing the, Tammy, are you doing the wake surfing one, or is Dave?
I'll go ahead and do it. You all have a copy of everything. So the motion would be wake surfing, teak surfing, use of bladders, ballast, or any device used for the purpose of increasing weight or enhance additional or excessive wake by any boat is strictly prohibited. The censure for the first offense was $500, second offense was $750 plus 30-day revocation of boating privileges. Third offense was $1,000 plus 1 year revocation of voting privileges. And it's been reflected in these samples that if it's approved, will go into the rules manual.
Hang on, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
When is that effective?
That would take effect just
January
January
1.
1st.
Well, I would say tonight it's effective, since there's not a date on here.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So, that's not gonna matter, but.
Need a date on it.
Any other discussion about the,
And so, because this will approve of the actual wording in the rules, also on the censure assessment chart, and also on the Raintree Plantation boat sticker form that they have to sign.
Dave, what is teak surfing?
And apparently, it is hanging on the side of the boat while it's running full speed, either on the side or the back. I don't think it's ever occurred in Raintree, but I don't know, but apparently we've, in our looking at other lake communities, it's apparently an issue. Lake St. Louis prohibits it, that's how we found out what it was.
So you can't have a dolphin as a pet.
Right. Unless you only have one dog.
All right, the motion, let's see, wake surfing, teak surfing, use of ladders, ballast, or any device used for the purpose of increasing weight or enhanced additional. Who wants to increase weight? Seriously? Additional or excessive weight by any boat is strictly prohibited, and so on and so forth with the offenses. Right. All in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
7 ayes, 1 nay. That is all of the new business that is in the agenda. Anything else?
I have new business.
Go
Yes,
ahead.
I have new business.
All right, go ahead.
I would like to make a motion to disallow family members from serving on the same committee.
Can you be little, well,
Okay. I mean,
That's-
all family.
hang on a minute, Adam. The motion is vague, so either you gotta give me a description of what you mean by that, and then we'll discuss it, but I don't wanna get into a discussion just to make the motion, so give me a little.
Sure. Okay, so I make a motion to disallow all family members, regardless of relationship, from serving on any committee under the Raintree Property Owners Association. I don't know how to necessarily get more in detail with that. I don't think.
You're trying to say just one family member. You're just trying to say only one family member can serve on any committee, right?
Correct.
Okay, I would reword that if that's what you mean, because I didn't understand that to be what you were saying.
Can we take this up next month?
Yeah, what are we trying to prevent?
Yeah.
We need to talk about this.
Let's table
Yeah,
this,
there's a lot of discussion in there, and there's,
I mean,
I think,
why
a couple
should
of
we table it?
scenarios that,
because it warrants some investigation and discussion.
Yeah,
We need volunteers, and we can't just
There are
start excluding people.
Well, I
there are,
have some investigation and discussion that we can talk about now, if you guys would like.
Well, we would all like to do our own investigation.
let's do this, there's a motion on the table, is there a second?
I'll second.
Got a second? I'm gonna table discussion for next month, we can pass it around in email, Adam, share what you got, or we can have a one-off here and there, or whatever, and we'll bring it back up under unfinished business next month. All right. Any other new business? I will entertain a motion for our adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I second it.
There better not be any discussion. Meeting adjourned at 8:42.
8:37.
Okay, that too. My computer's 12 minutes slow, so. All right, open forum. If anybody wants to speak, please raise their hand, speak their name. I will give you as much time before I get bored, so. Are we still recording this or not? This doesn't get recorded, does it? Or does it? The open forum,
Recorded by whom?
Zoom? Yes, no? Okay.
because we also ask for people in the live stream.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah. Go ahead.
So
Derek,
just,
sorry.
my name's Derek, property owner. Just to clarify kind of what Adam was going off here. By committee name, can you tell us what family members are on what committees? Like, if,
Well, they're all on the website, though.
okay.
Members are too?
Yeah, well, everybody's a member of the committee.
So, just for clarification purposes, on a vote at the ACC rules meeting on the wakeboard issue, by a show of hands, who had a family member also vote on that? Okay,
I was
She may have been. I'll have to look at the minutes.
okay, and approximately how many people are at those meetings?
the minutes aren't written, because we
Just
just had the
approximately,
meeting.
I
last
mean.
It doesn't.
Okay, it doesn't, so one extra person isn't gonna influence the vote, is what I'm trying to understand.
And on ACC, we got them, doing stuff, inspecting properties, and sometimes people just don't wanna.
I'm just worried about, cause Adam brings up a great point, if there's multiple family members that are voting together, that's swaying a vote, and that could be something that needs to be looked into, I completely
On
agree.
the rules committee, anything that the
Hang
rules,
on.
anything.
Hang on,
anything that-
quiet.
Anything that the rules committee votes on, has to be brought to the board no matter what anyway.
Right, but it can make it through a committee meeting
It can make
based
it
off.
through a committee
of-
meeting, and then it would have to come to the board. Now, ACC is a different matter entirely, but,
Okay,
again, there's lots of different.
right,
aspects
going
of
back
rules
to the Wake Board vote, how many people that voted on that live on the lake?
Which lake?
The lake in question for this,
The way.
the Wake Board Lake.
Two right here.
I didn't vote.
I have to look at.
Al does.
I was.
We do.
So
I'd
one,
have to
two,
look
three,
at
four,
the
plus your
minutes.
fifth vote,
Three.
okay. So half the voting for that came
I don't know
from
about the other members.
lake members and family members.
Three of them live on the lake.
You said there was about 12. didn't you?
Kent, am I allowed to be on, it's all public now.
Yeah, it's on the website.
Kent voted, he lives on the lake.
It should be mentioned that the people who live on the lake are the ones that brought it to the rules committee, and they've been.
I'm just trying to figure out if
All summer.
a committee full of lake people voted on something that's affecting the whole community without getting the whole community involved, cause
Well, not
that's
everybody on the
kind
committee.
of where,
No, the committee voted on it.
right.
If
But that
non-lake
committee is,
people wanna be on the committee, they're welcome to be on there.
perfect,
Yeah.
Plus, other people that live in the community use the lake as well.
right.
It's not just the people that live on it.
Right, my worry is that the community doesn't know about what just happened. I was aware of it a month ago because I was here at a meeting, which is no excuse for them not, they should be aware, I agree with all that. My worry is that they just had a pretty big vote happen without their knowledge by a bunch of people that live on the lake that are on this committee, which, once again, is all fair game. It's concerning to me, that's the only reason I brought it up, so, that's all I have, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Nikki Fulkerson and Tim, we're property owners here. I have a couple concerns. First, Derek, piggyback on yours, I didn't even think about this, but you said the committee. We're on the lake committee. We've never knew when there was a meeting. We just found out on the website, like, hey, yeah, we're on there, but we never heard of the meeting. So if there was ever anything about the lake committee, Tammy never gave us no, or Ed, I guess Wiley was released under, we never knew about a meeting, so we never voted on anything. And second is, disappointment with the board right now is, we were just driving by and happened to see all the cars, like, hey, it's Monday. Don't know Frank, Sophie at all. Seems like he has a structure in that, and my disappointment with the board is that we have rules, and it seems like they're guidelines, they're meant for you guys to make decisions. And it seems like property owners fight so hard against the board that we elect for you guys to represent us. I feel like we fight so hard against you guys to do things. I don't know you, I don't know your structure, but it seems like it's a very good thing. And it seems like you're fighting really hard for it, in that the board is just fighting so hard against us. That's what it feels like on this end. And I know you guys probably don't feel that way, but you guys live here too. But on our end, you guys, it feels like we're fighting so hard all the time. And rules are meant for guidelines. Somebody said that up there on the board, I don't know who was, to go one way or the other, to make decisions. Of course, you're not gonna do a mobile home, or Mr. Sophie is asking for a very nice pavilion. I don't know the whole thing about it, but it feels like he's fighting really hard for it.
$22,000 for a
And it's-
check I can put.
And rules are meant to make decisions. It seems like as a community, we fight so hard against the board, and I just think it's just not.
Nikki, if
It's
I can
hard.
respond to you.
Danny's got his response.
Please, remember that all the rules that are in these covenants and bylaws come from you.
Right, they
Okay,
came from
and
people
we are
20
here-
years
we are
ago,
here to
not
enforce
from
them.
us.
We're here to enforce those rules that you guys create.
Right, but these are rules from people 30 years ago that probably don't live here no more. These are rules for, these are
Then you have to
rules
change the
that-
rule.
And
We
yes,
can't
and-
change it.
Right, and, but you guys are supposed to use the rules to help mold into where we are now, to use them as a guideline. Not to like, as Chris Waller's like, oh, there's a period here, you can't go 3 foot over. No, it's a guideline, it's to help you guys bring your community and help guide. Like, of course, you're not gonna do a trailer, but you got a $20,000 pavilion, or
Wait,
40, or whatever
hang
you
on.
said it was. It's to help the guide,
Let me,
not
ju-
to.
let me say one thing, and to Denny's point is, I agree with you. Some of the rules are 42 years old and need to be adjusted. My point to that is all we get usually every year is crap to pass an assessment on a rule. We don't get anything with meat to it. I mean, we had the sheds, that barely got through the board, and then it somewhat passed, 3-2, basically? But bring those kind of things to us in June or July or May, or bring them to us now.
He gave you examples of somebody across the lake or something that had like a shack, and it almost feels like a punch to it's like, okay, there's a guy over here that has this, but you're telling me, it's a different perspective where we're coming from, where we see you guys and you guys see us. And you
I
guys are
agree.
part of us.
Let me say this for one perspective. I haven't been here for 42 years. I've only been here for 5 years. I will say, when I got here, it seemed like the wild, wild west. This board, at least from what I can tell, the ones that I have been involved in, this one in previous years for 3 or 4 years, have done a better job of enforcing the rules, whether our own attorney told us they needed to be fixed in their junk, and Deb and I had discussed, and we're gonna sit down and probably it'd be a 2-year planning session to try to get the covenants updated. We never ever had a chance where we didn't have something so critical for the assessment or the ballot that we wanted to cloudy the waters with something like that. But we definitely need to fix the bylaws, the covenants, and maybe some of the rules. They're doing the best job they can with what's been handed to us. Now, is there some leniency here and there? Sure, but it's just, it's everybody's own decision to make on how they want to vote yes or no for one thing. And we can only go that route, and if you don't see something that you think looks right or the covenants look a little off, bring it to a ballot item in May and we'll vote on it. And if we think it's worth it, yes, we'll put it on there and let the people make the decision. Because if you bring a pavilion or a mobile home or whatever, and they think it's the right thing to do, and it gets past this board, which I doubt a mobile home would, and it goes on the pavilion, we let the people make that decision. And I get it, it's, sometimes we're winning for you and sometimes we're losing for
But it's the
you.
board making the decision for him, not the people.
Based on how the,
That's why I had all those signatures for support to bring to you guys. If 70 people, 69 and a half people could say, yes, I could have got more. And if they say yes, we got 5 people here that can just tear it all apart.
And then my other concern is like, what if this does go to court? That's another battle that you're gonna put all of us into for something that probably 90% of us would say like, hey, whatever, just do it.
But that's the problem, is there are people that want to say just whatever, and not even look at the rules, not even look at the guidelines.
Chris, you know that's wrong. I went through proper protocol for every step along the way here.
I'm not
And
saying anything
I got
against you. I'm
highlighted
only
everywhere
commenting
with
about what
guns.
she said, thank you.
Not everybody has the room that the Sophie's have
That's exactly
to
the point.
put that on their property. Most people don't.
That's why
But a
the
shed's
outbuilding
gonna look a lot
guidelines say
better, I
1.5
guess,
acres.
Than a pavilion.
Exactly.
Not an
That shed's
outbuilding.
gonna look really good
And
versus
sheds
a
all over the
pavilion.
place and
The
stuff.
guidelines for an outbuilding say 1.5
But
acres.
it's not an outbuilding.
It is exactly an
Doesn't
outbuilding.
qualify as an outbuilding.
Jefferson County
There's
says
no
it's an
doors, there's
outbuilding.
no windows, there's nothing on it.
It has 6 columns that hold up a roof.
And you could put sails up over it. Is that
Put
gonna
up
look
sail
better?
shades,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
temporary.
Aesthetically, I just don't see how, you're gonna put sheds around this whole lake. I mean, everybody technically. can
Not
put a
outside the
shed in
30-foot
back.
setback.
and they can put that, I think that's gonna bring property values down, because I think it's gonna look terrible, that's just an
Well,
opinion.
hang on, Frank, not that we, I mean, you guys voted on it, so we just put it on there because it was brought to us. But let me say this, with putting it on there, I was probably 90% responsible of forming how the motion or the ballot item looked. And one of them is that has to be not in the 30-foot setback. It has to be built with like materials, either a shingle roof, siding, whatever. If it has electric, I think we allowed electric for a light bulb or outlet or something.
On a concrete
Yeah, it's
floor.
gotta be on a concrete floor, so as much
It's
as,
also gonna be behind.
right, it can't be sticking
behind
out from the
house.
side of the
It can't
house.
be off the
I will
side,
say,
it's gonna be
that
behind the
being
house.
said, I'm not a huge fan of the sheds, but I am a bigger fan of a shed that looks like a house than something that looks like Sanford and Son behind their house, which mine does right now. So, and I'm not planning on building a shed, so you're still gonna be looking at my crap, but, I get what you're saying, but we're kinda, believe me, I'll do what I can within my limits and powers, and this board will as well, but if you think there's a specific covenant that is really violating what we're trying to do here, put it out for a vote, or put it to the board for us to discuss it. I can't say really much about that because there's been mention of legal battles, and I don't wanna.
I just think the way that was worded, I think it confused some people. I don't think they quite understood how it was presented, and I'm not trying to.
The shed, you mean?
Shed I'm talking about.
And, we're
I think
limited on.
some people voted the wrong way on that, and I would bet you that if that thing came up again on another vote, I bet it would be worded differently, I bet that would be.
Well, everything that we do send through the attorney, and it comes back, and he changes what he thinks is right or wrong. I mean, the ACC will scrutinize that just like anything else, and I gotta believe they're gonna even look at that harder than a regular outbuilding or boat cover or whatever.
Okay, so.
We will do our best to make it look good. Yes, Frank?
Does the attorney know what I wanted to do in all this here?
Yes,
Okay, I said you got an opinion from him.
yes.
We have no legal opinion to share though.
I didn't ask you to share it.
We didn't know what the questions were. You got a question over there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, so this pavilion he wants to build, is this it's on Raintree property and his property?
No.
So what's it on?
It's on his
Raintree
property.
it's on Frank's property, but it's in the 30-foot setback, which is not POA property. It's just a
It's
setback.
outside the setbacks of the building guidelines.
Hang on.
So then, why would you wanna do something like that if it isn't totally on your property?
Well,
It is on.
if you come by and look where my boat dock is, one of the few boat docks that were, I guess, grandfathered way back when, and it sticks out in the water,
Actually,
way out in the water.
Hang on a minute, Chris.
all right.
Dave's wife still, did you have any?
No, here we go, go ahead.
And so why? Well, that's another situation. I put the patio out there, because I hate to say this, but like I said, we've been there since July of 18, and we can no longer sit on that concrete table there because of the weight. Okay, so what do I have to do? I built flat work. And obviously, if you got right next to your boat dock, wouldn't you think you'd want to put a cover on it? It's a patio cover. You call it whatever you want. It's a patio cover for my family. That's all it is. And some people just want to crucify me for it. And I don't understand why.
No, I don't think nobody wants.
I haven't done anything to some of these people here. I haven't done anything that I know of.
Nobody's personally trying to attack you. They're trying to follow
Somebody has.
the rules, and everybody follows the rules. I don't care who you are, how much money you got.
Absolutely.
That's the problem.
Right.
It ain't who you know, it's
Right.
not what you got.
Right.
It's fair, equal for
But mine is
everybody.
sitting back in the water, and it's over 30 some odd feet before you even get to even closer to the property.
Can I address that?
I'm just trying to say
But there's no sense in all
that
that.
everybody has to follow the
Right.
rules, everybody.
As soon as Dave's wife's done.
This is volunteers that do this too. So, to the family thing, it doesn't matter if family's helping out. It's all volunteer work. Now, if you think there's so many people in here that wanna help, let them step up to the plate. They're not. So a family offers stuff too. It's because it's their community and they want it to be nice and to hold its value. Okay, sir?
But rules
Don't
can change.
complain about people giving their time for
Rules
free.
can change.
Well, you weren't here, absolutely not. I commended these people for what they've done.
You guys
And
do a
that's
great
that's
job.
awesome.
For what you guys have to do, you guys do a tremendous job.
You know, let Chris wants to respond.
Volunteer.
I'm sorry, I need to clarify something. I think I've said it over and over again, but nobody seems to get this. Mr. Sophie, your boathouse is built perfectly where it is. If you look around the lake and you look at the property line, boathouses are all built in POA property. Your boathouse did not require any kind of variance when it was built. It was completely within the guidelines and structures. No matter how far it reaches out into the water, there are guidelines that we use to make sure that your seawall matches up with your neighbor's seawall or the neighbor on down the road. And so your boathouse does not cross your back property line at all. It is all 100% on POA property and required no setback or no
Right, I
variance.
understand what you're saying also is where your seawall is, there's a 15-foot easement there. And then you got 30 more feet from that, okay? Well, where my seawall starts from my dock is 30 feet past there. And it's a separate lot, that's lot number 18.
Yes, I understand that, but it was also done to match up, when they built this, it was to match up with other existing seawalls. And the lay of the land, you don't have specifically, you go around the lake and people's properties do not end 15 feet from the shoreline. It varies. The lake shoreline is not straight, and it varies and different. It can go out 20 feet, it can go out 10 feet, but boathouses are generally 100% on POA property, do not require any kind of setbacks or variances unless they cross your property
So
line.
my neighbors are like, these sidewalk and shit are right on my property line. I think I'm gonna tell Art, I'm gonna complain, make you do that? It's stupid, it's ridiculous. What I'm trying to say is, a lot of things happened years ago,
Yes,
10, 15 years ago,
Well-
that wouldn't happen today.
but also when you're talking about patios and sidewalks, that is flat work and it can go anywhere on any property. And what's on your property is yours and what's on his property is his. But the point is, I'm trying to make here is, your boathouse did not require any type of variance when it was built. It is perfectly within the guidelines. The pavilion that you're proposing is completely outside of the guidelines.
All right.
When can proposals come up for to change the covenants?
What was that?
When can we vote on the covenants, the existing covenants?
Voting is in September with a ballot item, but you can submit to change the covenants in May. Deb said she wants it in May.
We really need to be able to talk about it at the May meeting. so
At
that
least
we
2 or
can-
3 meetings
If
because
you have any ideas, you might want to start working on them now.
Yeah, start working now and submit them by late April.
so if you want to get something to change the covenant, to get the people to vote on it, you got to get it to us by the May meeting, which is the 3rd Monday. Nancy, you had something?
Yes. As I listen to everybody, I'm sitting here shaking my head and whatever. I'm sorry, I'm Nancy Gow.
Okay, I said
The
everybody
board-
but you had to say their name.
The board, I'm social distancing, so I'm backing up. The board, is, as far as I'm concerned, we've got a good board. We've got differing opinions. Mr. Sophie, your project really tore the board apart with the differing opinions. We need the differing opinions. I lost on this matter because I was for you, buddy. But, and I lost on the sheds. I hate sheds. I think it was a stupid thing to pass, but I lost. I lost. The board, things are brought to them to put to a vote by the people. Things are brought to them, and they have to go over the proposition that's brought to them and figure out what it means and approach whoever puts in the proposal and say, explain this, we gotta know what we're doing, you gotta tell me this. And if it makes sense to them, the board who we elected to do their volunteer work decides whether that is going to go on the ballot, and then it goes to a vote. It's a good process as far as I'm concerned. But we do have to get them to them early enough that they can get it on that September ballot. Everyone, Mr. Fulkerson, can run for the board. Everyone that wants to run for the board, run for the board. We need new people on the board to blend in with the old people so they can learn the ropes and whatever.
I've already stated I'm 27 years old.
We need a transitional board. We need new people along, like I said, along with the old. It needs to turn over all the time. We can't get people to vote. We can't get people to run. So, you know, anyone who wants to run, do it, please. That's what we need. We need volunteers. On the point that Adam made about married people being on committees together, I don't agree with that. I think married people can be on committees, but possibly the board can decide on his motion and make it that only one voting member per family. Let the married people be on the committee, but one voting member per family is my solution to that. And that's all, except for my very last point says, I hate sheds.
Tell us how you feel.
Thank you for it, I do.
Anybody else? Is it about the
I
pavilions?
just wanna make sure that everybody knows, Mr. Sophie, it is not personal, I can assure you.
Right.
You can ask my wife, she hears no more than anybody else in this subdivision.
No,
Because
this is not personal.
I just had, if she brought this pavilion to me, she got the same vote. In fact, I would've never brought it to the committee. So, that's all I have.
She submits plans.
No, actually, if it's completely outside the guidelines, I should not. You can take it to the board.
Any other questions,
I won't be responsible for that.
concerns? That's it. All right, thanks, folks. Appreciate you showing up. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
I can't imagine. And I'm the one that has the trashiest backyard.
You just seconded the motion to allow the shed.
It's little.
No, but you don't agree with that.